You're listening to the Microsoft Innovation Podcast, where we explore the intersection of people, business, and technology. This year, we're adding a new show to our lineup, The AI Advantage, to help you learn the skills you need to thrive in the AI era.
Welcome to the MVP Show. My intention is that you listen to the stories of these MVP guests and are inspired to become an MVP and bring value to the world through your skills. If you have not checked it out already, I do a YouTube series called How to Become an MVP. The link is in the show notes. With that, let's get on with the show. Today's guest is from Budapest, Hungary. He works as a freelancer on the Power Platform, and he also is a Microsoft certified trainer. His first award is MVP in 2024, outside of work and tech. He loves traveling, hiking, biking. His passion for the arts draws him to concert and theatre. You can find links to his bio and socials in the show notes for this episode, as always. Matty, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark, for having me.
Good to have you on the show. I've kind of known you for a good wee while now. When did we first meet?
I think it was 2022. I think it was one of the cohorts of your mentoring program. So I think it was 2022. I always thinking if it's 2022 or 2023, but I think it was 2022.
Nice. So the pandemic was well underway at that point. What I find interesting, I always love seeing people become MVPs and then knowing that they went through the 90-day mentoring challenge. I'm like, yes, another one. That is so epic. How did you first, actually, before we go there, tell us about Budapest. Tell us about food, family, and fun.
Okay. Budapest, beautiful city. I think you've been here before, so you know it already. It's a beautiful city. It's a bit crazy these days. We just had a protest today, so they were protesting today. But yeah, it's a nice city. Otherwise, we have better and better weather. Getting out of winter, we had a pretty cold winter this year, but yeah, it's beautiful. It's great to be here. Great to be back to Budapest always. And food, anything spicy. It could be hot or spicy. Anything that is spicy. So I like anything from Middle East, from India, from China, from Thailand, from Indonesia. So anything that contains any spices. For fun, I think you already mentioned in the start, but I do love traveling. I do love hiking, biking, doing SUP, so stand-up paddling on the lakes in Hungary, and yeah, organizing communities, doing some public speaking, and a lot of other things. And family, I have a girlfriend. We live together I think we just had our 5 years living together anniversary. And yeah, we live together, we travel together, we do a lot of things together. So theater always together, but yeah, that's my 3 Fs for you.
I love it. Tell me, what's the protest about?
It's they banned the Pride in Hungary, and it's about that. I think that's the main thing, and they're banning things, and they just try to be out there to say that, hey, it's not cool that if you are suppress our rights, something like that. So they were trying to block four of the bridges for hours. So that was the protest happening. So I could see it from the window because I see 2 bridges from my window. So I was hearing a lot of police coming back and forth, a lot of flashing lights. But yeah, I think it's gone now because they had the time until 10 p.m. So it was stopped an hour ago.
So the big bridge I remember is there's a big green bridge. Is that right? An old bridge that's green? Yeah. And then I remember the ones up by the, is it a big cathedral or is it the town hall? That's the very elaborate right on the edge of the river.
Oh, the Parliament, the House of Parliament, I think. Yeah. They didn't go there. They just had the big green bridge. Yes, it was blocked by the protesters.
Yeah. Okay. You're right. It's a beautiful city. Why I went there and why I wanted to go there is really bad. In that we watched a movie that talks about the Grand Budapest Hotel, which of course is not set in Budapest at all. But it's just one of those quirky movies that my wife and I both love. And, it always had that ring. And so we used the opportunity when living in London to visit and appreciate. We did stay at a very nice hotel. We treated ourselves, but it also had like this big, like spa, a hammam or like a hot, which was amazing. And then I remember a rooftop, like cocktail bar that was quite high up in the city that allowed you to look out towards the river. That was spectacular. And then, of course, the grungy area of town was also very interesting as well. Very cool, very cool. How did you first get into the Power Platform?
I think it was back in 2018. I was working in a finance function, and I just received a request from one of the managers to do something in Excel, like a huge Excel with 500 people and sending emails back and forth. And I was like, maybe not. And that's when I realized that Power Platform is a thing. So I'm coming outside of IT. I was working in finance and photography before then. And that's when I realized, but I always had this curious mind. And, okay, there's this purple icon on the top left corner, and clicked on it. I think it was 2017 when I first clicked on it, but I couldn't do anything. And that's when I received that request in 2018. I was like, okay, maybe that's what Power Apps is for. And that's when I started. So I did everything in the default environment and doing everything in production as you would all do. And I started with an app for 500 people and developed in production. So, but it went well. So that was my first start. And then I started to build more apps, more automation. And I think the rest is history, right?
This is so cool that I've heard that story told by a few different people hitting that purple button and getting underway. And so if we fast forward to now, you're obviously an MVP for the Power Platform. Did you kind of never look back? Did you then just keep building solutions and developing your skill set, from that point forward?
Yeah, of course. So I started to do, okay, let's go in the certification route, just to make sure that I have like the learnings in place, and I had more and more applications building and more automations built. And I became a certified trainer. I think it was 2022. And so I started to dig a bit deeper, like, okay, what's in there in the Power Apps. And I think I spent a lot of time on Microsoft Learn, and I spent a lot of time in the community as well. We had a community in Hungary as well, and also the international community, because I think it's a bit more, of course, wider than the pretty tiny Hungarian community. So I really enjoy still to this day the international community, because it's really, really good to learn from the best of the best.
Dynamics Minds is one event you don't want to miss. Microsoft product managers and industry leaders from all over the world converge in Slovenia to explore the latest in Dynamics 365, the Power Platform, and Copilot. Expect 3 days of in-person community connection, trailblazing insights, and a location sure to inspire our creativity. Early bird tickets are on sale now, and podcast listeners get 10% off by registering via the link in the show notes. Hope to see you there.
Last time I saw you in person was in Vegas, right? Does that sound right? The Power Platform, community conference. I noticed in your bio that you're very active in Toastmasters. Why is that?
Because of your mentor program. So I think this was the very, very first homework, I would call it, or assignment, to go to local Toastmasters, and we do have one nearby. And I went there, and I was like, okay, it's just clapping and a lot of formalities in there. And I didn't go back for a month after my first Toastmasters event, but I felt it's a really supportive community, and in a way, it's your best audience. Because everyone's there to support you and help you through your own boundaries that you create for yourself. And yeah, it was great. Like I've done it for 3 years. Like last week was my last time going for Toastmasters, because I wanted to. I'm thinking to go for different kind of genre now. So I'm thinking about slam poetry or comedy or storytelling. So I'm still try to hit different stages, but it was a great learning. So I just can't really thank you enough for just showing me. I heard it before, but since it was an assignment, I was like, okay, let's give it a go. And I had great friends along the way, great people to learn from. And I got back to speak Hungarian more, because I think the last, 12 years, English is my main language or my work language. And I forgot a lot of Hungarian in the work context. And I was forced to work more, speak more Hungarian there, because it was a Hungarian club. And it was a great way to get back to Hungarian. It sounds weird, right? But just to use the phrases again, because it's so easy to switch back to English when you have a better phrase that works better in English than in Hungarian. And it's so easy to switch, and people are just like, hey, you are in Hungary, try to talk in your native language. And yeah, it was a great journey for sure.
That is so cool. Who nominated you to become an MVP, and what was that process like?
It was easy. I'm not sure, from M365, Isidora Katanic. And she was organizing the Experts Live Europe in Budapest. And I was so happy to see that like an international conference is coming too. Like we finally made it to the map of, it's not Power Platform, right? It's M365 mainly, or Modern Workplace, or whole Microsoft in that sense. And I was so happy, and I was like, hey, it's so great. And I got selected first of all to have a session. And then I was like their local helping guy, like, hey, I can do this, because we had a big flood right before the conference itself. And I was like I was like the weather guy. Okay, now the Danube is pretty okay. The roads are closed. This tram is not going anywhere, and things like that. But yeah, way before that, we were having talks when they were in Hungary to do the preps. And she asked me like, hey, are you an MVP? I was like, no. Okay, I will nominate you, because it feels like you are trying to do a lot for the Hungarian community. So I think that was really the process, because I was thinking for, like, I have a year compass, like a yearly planner, and for 2 years I think I put it as a goal, like I want to become an MVP. And last year it was the first time I didn't put it, because like that's not my end goal. I just want to help people. I want to bring the international community to Hungary, to just to have a Hungarian community. And yeah, last year I didn't put it in my goals, because that wasn't my goal to become an MVP, just to really help the people. And that's when I didn't want to achieve that. That's when it happened. So in that sense, I think it worked out, because I had the right purpose, not just, okay, I need that 3 letters on my LinkedIn.
This is so cool, though. It's so cool that, that story, that journey that you went on. What's your observation of the community now in Hungary? Is there a community of either, Microsoft people? Because I'm finding personally the lines between M365 and business apps are blurring heaps, right? As in, if you come from a SharePoint background, which is in M365, right, you'll probably be building Power Apps and using Power Automate and things like that. And then now we have Copilot. And if you really want to extend Copilot, you're going to use a Power Platform tool, right? Copilot Studio to do that. And I just find it's getting very hard to go, what is Biz Apps and what is M365? And even now, with Foundry and Azure and stuff, it is becoming, I feel, a contiguous story from end to end. But what are you seeing in the actual people in the Hungarian community?
Hungarian community is really like a tough market to just bring them together, because it's such a small market and everyone is just trying to keep their shares of the market share in that sense, and also like to share knowledge. I think it's not really in our blood in that sense. We are not really open as a society in Hungary, or as people. We are not so like we have, I would say, trust issues in that sense. That's okay. Why? Like, we are trying to find like what's your deal? Why do you do that? Why did you ask that question? What you really want? Even though we are direct, but it's still like we are trying to like, okay, what do you really want? Why do you work for free? Why you organize events for free? What do you want to get out of this? And it was like in the beginning, it was really hard to bring people together or just to have them share things. But now I think it's getting easier and easier. It feels like they just got our trust, and we got their trust. And now we have more and more speakers coming along. We had, I think, the last 2 years, maybe 50 new speakers, like brand new speakers showing their or sharing their knowledge. And we started to do, like, I am the leader of the Hungary Power Platform user group, and we started to do like a roadshow. So we are going to Microsoft partners, we go to Microsoft, and we go to end users as well, like companies and users, and we just bring it into different people and to different groups. So it's not always at Microsoft in that sense. So we can just expand our growth. And now I think on LinkedIn we have 1,100 people, something like that.
Wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, they are not that active when it comes to like in-person events. So we usually have 50, 40, 50, 60, depends. But I think it's a great start, or a great progress. It's a journey. It's because we started from a long way, and I think during your mentoring program we discussed the language barrier. That's what we have, and in Hungary sometimes people even in IT, they don't speak English at all, or not well enough. So I'm also trying to break that as well a little bit, just to break that ice, because we do have foreign community here as well, expats who live in Hungary and work in Power Platform, and I don't want to exclude them. So I just want to have it as a melting pot, and I want to be inclusive. So sometimes I do it, if I speak or someone else is speaking, we do it in Hungarian, in English at the same time, not the same time, but switching. And sometimes I'm like, okay, we will do it in English, but I will try to be as simple as possible so people will understand that English. So not that fast, or not use huge words or anything like that. And yeah, it seems to be working. So we are more and more, and it's going well. And just to answer the original question, how those two are merging, we do have some people coming from Modern Workplace or SharePoint backgrounds as well. However, I can't recall if they have their own community for like SharePoint, or I don't think so. I think there is a separate community for Power BI. They are pretty big, and one starting for Copilot as well. And that's also like a Hungarian thing, that we are trying to go separate ways and not work together in that sense, even though I would like to, but it just doesn't seems like it will happen. That's it.
So what's the feeling then around artificial intelligence in Hungary and AI? You mentioned Copilot then. Once again, I am seeing that you really can't be in Biz Apps or the Power Platform or Dynamics these days without AI being, front and center. But what are you seeing in Hungary? What's the kind of adoption level at a national level? Are people getting into it? Are they freaking out? What's the kind of temperature, I suppose, of the population?
I think they are getting into it. So like even my father is playing around with Midjourney and ChatGPT, for example, just to see. So people are curious about it. However, most of the tools are not really good with Hungarian language. So even like Copilot Studio is not supporting it natively at this very moment. Copilot supports it, I think, for a year now. M365 Copilot, but the Copilot Studio doesn't have it as a native option as Hungarian. So it sometimes is a showstopper for big companies, because like even in banks, like big Hungarian banks or other bigger companies, it's like Hungarian only. They don't have expats working for them. And I think that is a showstopper in that sense, but I think like major telecommunication provider just gives out free, like say Perplexity Pro licenses for a year for all their subscribers and things like that. So they are trying to bring it in. And so I see both ends. Like people are like really, really into it. And also like people that are tech savvy have no clue about AI. So it's just a big, like a opposite ends of the scale. And so I don't think we have a huge adoption right now, but it's getting a hotter topic. So if I go to meetup.com, I look around, there are always like every week there is something related to AI, either meetup and it's not usually Copilot. It's usually other things that are happening. So.
And have you personally started to incorporate AI into your life, into your work, into what you do? What's your kind of level of adoption, I suppose?
I like to play around with it. So I'm a pretty early adopter. I like to see what's happening in the field. I wouldn't say like I completely put my life into AI to use it in the extent I would say I would like normally use it. I'm just trying out the new features, the new models to see what's out there, to try to keep up. So it's not only Copilot for me or OpenAI, but to see other players as well. So I think I have maybe 3 or 4 like Plus or Pro licenses across the different providers, just to see what's going on, how they evolve, and what's good for what. Because I think it's getting to the point that okay, this one is good in this, that one is good in that, and it's I'm thinking more like okay, which model is good for what, and not just like a Swiss Army knife in that sense. So I think that's my adoption. I just play around. I use it a lot for certain tasks, for just to see how it can help my life, or how it can really help others as well. And I really, because I have background in photography, I really try to see how it can work to creating things out of photos. I mean, I'm not 100% with it because of ethical or copyright perspective. So how it's been trained, like Stable Diffusion, also OpenAI's DALL-E. Yeah, that's a different story, the ethical AI in that sense. But I just am fascinated a lot of times, like now with this new model on OpenAI image model, that it's crazy. I just loaded in like 5 or 6 pictures because I wanted to see something like, okay, make it like this with different people doing that. And I was like, okay, they don't have extra fingers. They have good looking face expressions. It's getting there. Like it's getting there really, really fast. And yeah, it's just really fascinating to me, like how it's evolving, like every day, literally every single day.
It's amazing, that concept of mashing up multiple images and then creating something from them. And yesterday I just, gave it a logo, gave it some data off a product, and I said, create me an infographic. And I'm like, the logo was perfectly reconstructed. The infographic was like, it had chosen based on the text, the imagery, etc. it would use. And I'm like, people are like, oh, it's slow, but that would have taken a graphic designer half an hour, right? Not 3 minutes, and I'm just like, it's pretty fast in my mind as into what you're, getting out of it.
And
And
it's
then
so
the other
fast
one,
to go back and forth as well, right? So it's just, you are there and like, okay, please do this, change that, and it's done. I mean, it's 3 minutes or 2 minutes, but
it's making graphic designers out of us that weren't graphic designers. And of course, I bet a lot of people take offense to that, but it's just definitely enabling people to do more that wouldn't have necessarily had the time or skills or money to do it in the past. And the technology's enabling that. So, Matt, I could talk to you for hours. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for listening. I'm your host, Business Application MVP Mark Smith, otherwise known as the NZ365 Guy. If you like the show and want to be a supporter, check out buymeacoffee.com/NZ365 Guy. Thanks again, and see you next time.
Are you ready to accelerate your career in the Microsoft ecosystem? The 90-Day Mentoring Challenge, created by Mark Smith, is your opportunity to create a personalized pathway to success. Join over 1,200 alumni from more than 70 countries who have achieved remarkable results, from promotions to new job opportunities. Take it from Nathan, who said, since completing the 90-Day Mentoring Challenge, I've become an MVP in business applications and doubled my income. Or from Parves, who shares, I've never felt as inspired or energized about my career as I do now. Sign up at arcor.nz365guy.com. You can find the link in the show notes. And if you use the code podcast, you'll get 10% off.